NCIS. Sydney creator on drama's Australian setting, local actors and naval ships. We should be swinging for fences on this. Welcome to Dream USA 24 on my channel. Olivia Swan as NCIS Special Agent Captain Michelle Mackey, Sean Sagar as Special Agent Deshaun Jackson, Todd Lassence as AFP Liaison Officer Sergeant Jim J.D. Dempsey, and Tuli Narkle as AFP Liaison Officer Constable Evie Cooper at Bondi Beach on the set of NCIS. Sydney. Smith, Daniel Asher / Paramount Plus. Although the Hollywood strikes severely disrupted the fall schedules of the broadcast networks, they also made it possible for a Paramount Plus Australia series to land an unprecedented spot on CBS beginning on November 14. The debut of NCIS. Sydney signified the first overseas spin-off for one of CBS Studios' international drama franchises. It is now providing CBS with the chance to have NCIS original episodes airing before the year ends. It won't be until February when the remaining CBS scripted programs, such as NCIS, Hawaii, and the NCIS Mothership, return. Thank you. Please share my video. CBS unveils trailer for unexpected fall series, NCIS. Sydney. Here, show creator Morgan O'Neill discusses the creation of NCIS. Sydney, a television series that centers on a group of Australian Federal Police, AFP, and US NCIS agents who are grafted into a multinational operation to combat naval crimes in the world's most contested maritime region. There are some really amazing shots of Navy ships in Sydney Harbour in the first episode. Roger O'Neill. Sydney is one of the few large towns in the world with a naval headquarters, effectively controlling Australia's whole eastern shore. This makes Sydney a really unique place. It is located exactly in the town center. With breathtaking views of Sydney Harbour, the Opera House, and the Harbour Bridge, it is the perfect spot to be. Our excellent relationship with the Royal Navy made it possible for us to get access. Was it difficult to gain entry to such ships? You are, after all, bargaining with the military's sharpest point. Consequently, there is a small amount of red tape to get over every time. Fortunately, though, we kept running into individuals who were die-hard NCIS viewers, and they know how popular the show is all around the world. They wish to be connected to that. It is enjoyable and a great representation of them. Secondly, though, it does not hurt to see a positive representation of the Australian Navy throughout the world. They joined the team and were of great assistance. A Navy Seahawk helicopter is seen flying over Sydney Harbour in the first episode. It's one of those things you can't rent by the day, but that's real. Therefore, you have two options. Either you find someone who wants to play with you, or you decide not to. I said, look, my sense is that we should be swinging for the fences on this, to dated staff at CBS Studios during a very early conversation. He then commanded, swing away. We thus did. We expected the Navy to laugh us out of the room when we requested for aircraft carriers, submarines, the entire facility, and Seahawk helicopters. However, they simply took note of it and responded to us. So, is there a Sydney-based NCIS office? In actuality, Australia is home to a few. The largest is in Sydney, however, there are more ones in Darwin, Perth, and Sydney. Did you receive a franchise Bible when you were assigned to modify this format, or did you just watch previous seasons? Upon receiving approval to begin work on this project, I basically took a month off from work, curled up on my plush couch, and binge-watched hundreds and hundreds of episodes across all the different franchises to figure out what it was that made the shows so great. In my line of work, you usually have to come up with ideas from fresh. I had 950 strange episodes to look through. I came to see that all of the many franchises have the same DNA, which is that they are essentially family dramas. No matter if they are in Hawaii, Los Angeles, New Orleans, or Washington, NCIS is essentially a family drama on the job. It combines elements of a family drama and a comedy about the workplace. Not that they always get along, but you need to convey the impression that the characters are growing closer to one another. They occasionally do. I hope they do a lot. However, relationships will falter and then reunite. Bonds will be put to the test, and trust will be damaged and then restored. The show excels at doing that. The fact that CBS Studios never produced the same episode again further confirmed to me how strategically they developed that franchise. Thus, LA differs significantly from the mothership. Los Angeles and New Orleans were very different from one another, and Hawaii is much more different. Their goal was to ensure that the cosmos was extended without being duplicated. It's a wink-filled police procedural. It has an underdog flair and is really cheeky. Iteration after iteration, the place imparted a whole distinct flavor, and as I figured it out, it became very evident that given our geographic location in a different hemisphere, Sydney could be a whole different show. Our cultural sensibilities are really different, and our light is different. 9,000 miles separate us from anywhere. I hope that is understood. This should feel like a real Australian program to an Australian audience, for example. And after that, it ought to seem like a completely other NCIS universe extension to a global viewership. Could you provide an instance of a plot that wouldn't work on a different NCIS series? Is there anything exclusive to Sydney on NCIS? Its blended family status is among the first things you'll notice. Because the other versions of the show are all set in America, their casts are all Americans. NCIS must collaborate with Australian law enforcement organizations in order to have jurisdiction over operations in Australia. You quickly discover that this is the first blended family in NCIS history with Americans and Australians cohabiting as soon as you turn on the show. They're there from day one as well. Every other franchise iteration is in the show, the group is operational, everyone is acquainted, and they are all helping each other out with our shortcomings. We see this organization's birth from the ground up, because we're assembling a team with strangers that presents a ton of fun. Regarding how the rest of the world perceives Australia, we also conducted a good deal of anecdotal study. We could disprove a few claims. Almost without exception, the first thing people ask about Australia, especially if you haven't been here, is how do you live? Nothing can ever kill you. It's true too. We certainly have our share of things that will nip and bite you until you're dead. In Australia, there are 20 of the 25 deadliest snakes in the world. I mean, Australia is home to 80% of all venomous species on Earth. We definitely gravitate towards that. Are the actors you choose from Australia well known there? Oneyel really well known. Especially Todd Lassens, who portrays Steet, G.D. Dempsey of the Australian Federal Police. He is an Australian who lives in Gumli, a little village outside of Wagga Wagga. I did not make that up. Although it sounds that way, I'm not. Australians can easily recognize him, and he has experience working in America. Actor William McInnes, who portrays our witty and forensic pathologist, is a legendary figure in Australian television. He has starred in a few major productions here. Additionally, I'm extremely enthusiastic about this character for him since he normally plays a warm lead. It's a really unusual role for him. Early on, there was speculation that Shane Brennan, a former NCIS EP, would be taking part. What was the outcome of that? Shane has an extensive history with NCIS, having been heavily connected with both the original show and LA for a significant amount of time. I'm not sure how that ended up, but his involvement is prior to me. He is a highly adored and actively committed member of the global brand, and he currently serves as our guild's head here in Australia. He has been of great assistance. During his 2 years as guild president, he has invested a great deal of his own money to support emerging writing programs in addition to a plethora of other truly intriguing initiatives. Shane has my utmost regard. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. How did you learn that this was going to appear on CBS then? Truth be told, we were at a PR shoot. I was watching everyone get dressed, and I believe it was the day after we had wrapped. Just got off the phone with America, and one of the executive producers came in. Executives reportedly fell in love with the first 4 or 5 episodes after watching them. All of a sudden, we were on primetime CBS. We're the first Australian show to do it. I think we've definitely talked about how thrilled they are about the show. This franchise is very large. It's not like a program like NCIS usually ends after 1 season, you know. Their goal is to continue and further extend the universe. Opening on November 14 at 8 p.m. ET is NCIS Sydney, produced for CBS Studios and Paramount Australia by Endemol Shine Australia. It is distributed internationally by Paramount Global Content Distribution.